Well, there you folks. As you know, it's 7 o'clock and it's Queensland. We don't jump to daylight saving. All our sister states, except for West Australia and Northern Territory, a bit like Queensland, we don't jump. And so for our listeners in New South Wales and Victoria, Tasmania, ACT, of course, we welcome to you to 8 o'clock, 7 o'clock here. Our co-host is in the UK and currently due to daylight saving, they're at 10 o'clock in the morning. They'll be coming off next month. And without further ado, I'll hand it over to Andrena, who's at the very top of the tree here.
Hello, top of the totem pole.
Yeah.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Dreaming the New Dream. And if you're listening to the replay, I forgot what's the date today? Is it the
12th?
12th, right? I haven't had a chance to. I'm in the heart of Glastonbury at the minute, so I haven't had, since I've been here, it's been like a whirlwind, so I haven't had a chance to catch up really. So on this beautiful day, it's my great pleasure to have Kean Buckley on the show. Now, Kean is all about numbers, and I love numbers. As you all know, I'm a 9, I'm 1111, and all these numbers play a part, and I like adding up where I live to what the vibration and frequency is. So, you know, the numbers relate to us being vibrational beings, and numbers play a biggest part in our lives. And so the day we come in, the time we come in. So welcome, Ken. And I'm really sorry, Kean. It's funny, my dad was Ken, and it's so welcome, Kean, to being the guest on the show this week, and it's lovely to have you here.
Thanks, Andrena. I appreciate it.
And right, you're going to make a big difference in sharing about numbers. But first of all, would you like to, I know you were born in Sydney, would you like to share how your journey started and how you came to where we are now today with all of the numbers and you being a mentor and playing the numbers game?
Sure. So I founded a business called Be Yourself. I trained on about 350 workshops with an interesting group, and I ran about 150 retreats from 2 to 14 days. And I found that I just got to my limit. My mother's a famous astrologer from the UK. She wrote for Woman, Woman's Own, and Cosmopolitan. And I grew up with more or less a white witch. She was a graphologist, a palmist, astrologer, extraordinaire. At the end of her life, Mum was very exacting and very professional. She never let anyone touch any of her clients, and she actually started to get me to read her clients, because what I've done is basically made numerology about what I call source code, and I've made numerology about the numbers. And you'd think it would be about the numbers, but in fact it actually generally follows astrology, subjectivism, or a mystery school of sorts. So when you see a little matrix behind me, and Jeff will put one up in a while, not now, but the matrix that I've put together is close to 100% accurate, because I'm following the code, how numbers create words that create the thoughts that we have. Whereas mostly 1 is the sun, 2 is the moon, 3 is Jupiter, 4 is Uranus, 5 is Mercury, 6 is Venus, 7 is Neptune, 8 is Saturn, 9 is Mars. And everybody, even right now, I think the moon's in Virgo, which is probably why I'm so twitchy and perfectionist right now, because, you know, my ex-partner was a Virgo, and I find I'm pretty reactive to the moon. So personalities react to stars, but who we really are is outside this cosmos. There's a part of us that's part of the source itself. So what I try to do is read that energy, and everyone has a right to their own word, God or whatever. But I found that numerology historically has written out the feminine side, which is the zero, the nothingness. So it's an ineffable void that we can't really measure and explain. It has no vibration. It's not brought out in numerology. And since the 21st century, we've got 20 in the dates of birth now for the first time in hundreds of years, and there's a change in the numerology. We have 8 new life path numbers, and a ninth one actually that is never come before, and it's the number for vibration, meditation, relaxation, thinking, and foundation. So why I brought out vibrational numerology is to match the kids that are coming through right now. And what I think numerology is about is literally the same math that programs a GPS should program numerology, and it doesn't. It's historically a subjective art. So it's tough for me to do it because I haven't so far put anyone's nose out of joint, but I'm concerned that I might, how I speak, because the matrix of my gurus, the ones behind me, are 1/9 accurate sometimes. So they are, it's like your opinion of me and Jeff's opinion of me, they're going to be completely different. But if you saw me as a vibration, I would have a frequency. Your station has a frequency, FM 88. When you change the frequency, you change the music, and it's literally just frequency. That's all it is.
Amazing. So I know for me, when I talk to people about different things, I ask them, do they know what their life path number is? And I always think that's a very good start for people to look that up. And then, you know, I'll say, look at Dan Hillman's book and things like that. So what, for people that are new to numerology or don't really understand, where would you start with a beginner?
Okay, so you'd get a chart done, and you know, you can show my chart in a second, because I like Einstein. He says if you can explain anything, you can explain it that a 7-year-old girl can hear it, a 7-year-old boy in 7 minutes. So I can put all of my numerology on one page, much the same as an NLP artist can put your timeline, your whole life on one page. Okay, so Dan is a friend, and my friend that promotes Dan is a friend. I used to work for him. It's my first job in Australia, and I asked Dan if I could use his matrix, much the same as Dr. David Phillips, who follows Pythagoras. But when I measured Dan's work, it wasn't based upon the numbers. It was based upon his subjectivism of what 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 is, and the same as Dr. David Phillips. You can see I've got, you probably can't see behind me, but my number one, sorry, the camera goes weird. My number one says integrity and being there. Jeff's going to help me. So my number one that says integrity and being there, both those words are one words. If you take relationship and balance, which is, you know, pretty obvious for two, there's two legs, you know, two hands to balance on. Relationship and balance are 2 words. Responsibility and determination are 3 words, and those are actually 3 words. So when I did Dan's work, it was, his numbers were 1/9 accurate, same as David's, and they were different words. So sorry to say this, it did my head in. I was like, well, what are the words for 1? What are the words for 2? And then I realized that people just threw whatever they liked in there. And Dan's very charismatic. I mean, he's got a great story, and you know, and we're friends. And I said, can I use your matrix? He said, just say that you're using my matrix. And I said, yes, I will. But then when I measured it, I realized it was 1/9 accurate across the board, even the arrows, which is another part of numerology. So you asked the question of where would you start? Well, this is your birth chart. So this is your mud map. This is everything. And if it isn't accurate, then it's not going to guide you accurately. It's just subjectivism that enables you to look at yourself like the many facets of a crystal. People in the past used crystal balls. Whether they could see things in them or not, I don't know. But what I do is I can trust this chart. And you read the Bible, it says, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was made flesh. And we're led to believe we can't do God. So we just shut up and do as we're told. But the thing is, you can create a thought. There is a universal law called mentalism, which is funny enough written, and I can't say it, but it's Hermes Trismegistus, which is the god Thoth that became Hermes, and also Pythagoras and quite a few people. And I feel, to be honest, weirdly, I channel a bit of Pythagoras saying, hey, I did well, but this is the bit I messed up. And I'm hearing him, and I'm hearing Thoth, and I'm hearing a few people, and it just came to me. So to answer your question, the Queen used to go to see an astrologer my mum saw, a numerologist that my mum saw, called Chiros. Chiros was the boss in London. Now, Chiros could read you just from the day you're born. So, Andrena, you're born on the 11th, right? So just based upon the 11th that you're born on, you're also the 11th of November, which is really, really interesting, okay? The Queen's numerologist could get you just on that one number and read you like a boss. I don't have that gift. It's a massive psychic gift, and you have to study the number 11 and know it really well. So 10% of numerologists use the day you're born, right? So I'm born on the 9th, okay? And that appears to be real love, ego, source, etc. So that's the apparency that I give you, but it isn't my true self. Most people's personalities last century is not their true self. We're very egotistical. We were all about money and putting rockets on the moon, whether we did or not. We didn't really care about humans. So even politicians will set their big days on numerological days. So that's 10% of numerology. 80% of numerologists take your life path number. Yours is 27.9, so is your sister's, mine's 32.5. For me, that's just the course that you took over your life. It doesn't really mean too much. It just means that you started off on a bicycle, you eventually got a horse, and you finished on a donkey.
Not a Ferrari.
Doesn't really tell you too much, but everyone gets really off on their life path number, and it's a bit like, say, Gemini. No, not a Ferrari. No. Oh, 27.9 you could be, because it's the path of reason. So if you have a reason to make money, you'll make it. I moved out of money a long time ago because my heart opened. And not only that, in my office, I was lead name is Keanu Reeves, The Matrix, and I actually worked in Sydney in 1995 in one of those buildings. And when I walked out, it was like walking out of the Matrix. That's why I call the thing behind me a matrix, because it's literally just a vibrational sandwich that we're all in, and you need to know how to navigate the river of that frequency to get out of it. So the life path number is pretty big, but it's a bit of a trap. It's a bit like saying I'm a Gemini. If you do a proper astrological thing, I've also got a Taurus moon and got Venus in Taurus, which makes me very dependable and loving. I've never left a partner ever. I've never been unfaithful, so you could call me Venus. But I also got a Capricorn ascendant, which makes me grounded. But then where's my North Node? Where's my South Node? It gets complex. So I couldn't do astrology like my mother did. She's brilliant. This is so simple. I can teach it in a day. I can teach it in an hour. And so the second thing is your life path number is the clippity-clop of the horse or the Ferrari that you've used. That's 80% of numerology for most people. But the most incredible thing, and you can't really see it, here's your chart there, is those numbers there, which is your soul urge, which is the same as your life path number, your ego urge, combined urge, because you are a soul in a body, in an event horizon, in a lifetime, learning. And that's the critical thing. And a lot of people understand the veil of illusion. When you come through into this life, my mother remembers two guides bringing her down into Adelaide when there were bushfires, there. She remembers being implanted in the body. Now, I don't, but I've met plenty of people that do. So we go through this veil of forgetting, or it's into this matrix. And my whole work's about learning about the name. So friends of Jeff and I are very comfortable about, they've changed their name to change their vibration, and they've been a lot more successful. You were going to ask me this before. The name you're born with is your karma. It's your bloodline. It's your ancestry. It's massive. You can't avoid that. And it's only 10% of numerology, but it should be a lot more. So what I've done is triangulated. I've respected all the three numerologies because I don't know if you've seen the ad in England, but we have an ad here where a Mexican guy like this is going, I like hard tacos. And another one with a moustache like this is going, I like soft tacos. And the 6-year-old girl, and it's a good statement, she sees the intelligence in the argument and says, why don't we have both? So they have a pack of tacos, 12 is hard and 12 is soft, and both men are looked after. So what I've done is I've triangulated the three major numerologies: the day you're born, your life path number, and your soul, ego, and combined vibration. Sounds complicated, but I've triangulated the three major numerologies. If I'm driving in a car, there's 2 phone towers in front of me, 1 behind me, and those 3 towers can tell me wherever I am on the map, anywhere in the world, to a meter. And it's done in binary code, 0 + 1. So my numerology acknowledges the 3 numerologies, and it comes up with a number, which I've done with you, and I've said some words to you and your sister, and I've looked at some very advanced things like the Tao, the gene codes, etc. And my numerology perfectly matches them because they're solid bodies of work. So I'm at the starting of this because I sort of channeled this about 3 or 4 years ago. I've spoken at big festivals, I've had packed rooms. I speak to a lot of teachers. They all get tweaked by it, and it's really accurate because I use the same math that programs a computer. And the most sacred number in the world is the golden mean. Picasso used it, Leonardo used it, etc. And it's the shape that creates the universe. People trade on it. Okay, they actually make money on the golden mean. And if you write the golden mean out, it's 5,000 plus numbers. Whereas if you do it in binary code, it's 21. And if I ever have a tattoo on my arm, it's going to have the 21 numbers of the binary code, which is seven female and 14 male, 21 numbers creating the source code, as far as I'm concerned. So I sound like a wacko, and to myself, I think I'm mad, but it works. To go back to my client, to go back to the start, when my clients, sorry about the French, bullshit me, I can prove it to them in maths that what they said matches this frequency, and what they need to do is replace it with a thought at the same frequency, which is homeopathy. Whoops, I can't get my hands together. To replace it, to negate it. And that's literally, it matches all the fine arts that I've ever seen. My mother's talked to me about. She wrote for the Guardian newspaper. She wrote for the Queen. She wrote about colonic irrigation and chelation and so many good things over time. You know, she wrote about phones causing whatever they did, I might say, but 40 years ago. And I was there when she got the death threats for being such a good journalist. So it's taking on my bloodline. It's respecting my mother. And it's upgrading numerology, particularly autism is a 20 word, 20, and it's coming massively since this century's come in. These new kids are coming in, they're different, and their egos and their souls are much more matched than we were. I have one, and I have 3 of the other century, and all of Kaya's friends, my youngest, who was suicidal 3 years ago, and it was almost an impossibility for me to believe that my daughter could be suicidal. I have just studied everything that I think could actually bring truth. And autism, the 20 words are wise, will, kind, beauty, equal, balance, ugly and beauty both there, judge, will, gold. They're amazing little kids. So this numerology is mainly for the kids, because I think we're great, us older people, but we need to get out of the way, and we need to create a child-centered education for them to come through. So this is source education. When I'm at a stand, at a show, when I get the first reading done, I'm packed out for 2 days. And the kids are the ones dragging the parents across to this coloured banner behind me. And there is no money in it. Certainly no, I do kids for free. It's not about the money. I gave that up a long time ago. It's about the source code, and the kids need it because we've BS'd them so much and led them to believe we've done a good job with this planet, and we haven't. And they need to take over with wise guidance from wise people like us and others and they want to know the right information in order to get themselves there. So back to this chart that you can see also today, if you do today's date, it's nothing but 1, 2s and 3s. So this day is the day of intention. When we go past this 1,000 years, when we finish the 2000s, we get into the 3000s. When we're through the 3000s and into the 4s, we'll have true benevolence. And trust me, a few thousand years isn't much in this world. We've been around a long time. This culture's maybe 600,000 years. This chart talks about psychology. 369 is Tesla's numbers. 369 is the thought plane. 258 is the sense plane. And 147 is the feeling plane. So it explains psychology, it explains cell division, it explains free energy. I can show you a toroidal field in this 9-dimensional chart behind me, or we were showing just before. It just covers everything. I've been a school teacher all my life, and I've really taught something I'm proud of. We have a Gonski report in this country. It's a $20 million report, says child-centered education. No kid of mine, one of my kids topped the state in maths. She just learned left brain maths. She went to UQ to do an advanced maths degree, and she wasn't prepared for it. They said nothing you learned from school has prepared you for this degree. So this is source math. It's right and left brain maths, and it just covers everything. So it can answer any question so long as I listen. I'm talking a lot. As long as I listen to your question, and then I can say, well, look, here's my view of the answer. What do you think? And generally, it's divine because it's source code.
Wow. I'm mindful of information. All right. So going back to people that are starting off, And like you're saying, the life path is not really the true. So how would people work out, like, you know, like you said to me, my main numbers were the what was it, soul and ego, or those three. So how would people, because obviously we've put the chart out for people to download, and
Can I do yours? Can I do yours? Does that help?
Yeah.
So it's just from the camera. I've got a good look like this. Okay, so because it's really different. These are your numbers here, right? Now, gee, it's tough now. Could I have the bigger camera on me? What I'm showing, Jeff? Is that possible? Like make my frame big, because I can't see that. Can I be the biggest?
What about if I held mine up this way? Would you be able to see it better?
Could I do
I've got them
Is that
on
all right?
screen.
Because I can get my fingers on it better. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the thing you're most looking for is a bit weird. Okay. Is you wow? It just goes. Okay. So this is your chart here, and that orange circle is the aware square. Anybody who's got 2, 5, 3, and 6 missing, always aware. Anybody who's got 4, 7, 5, and 8 missing, massive depression. And I've tested this, beta tested this on hundreds of people. You can see that arrow 357. You've got those numbers missing. Yeah, yeah. The green line 357. You've got those numbers all missing. I have that too. We talked about that's hypercritical. I don't speak about critical. I say hypercritical, because that just accentuates the point. And most of those people have had huge hypercritical in their life. Okay, you've got in your chart here. Wow, it's hard to. You've got these 4 1s here, 5 1s.
Yeah. 5, yeah.
That's very rare. That's integrity, right? Integrity in being. If you look up in the book I've given you, 1 words, I've written 4 pages, probably never been written before, literally using 1 words to describe a paragraph in 1 code. I've worked with Kelly Slater, best surfer ever, won 11 championships, by the way, size 11 feet. And he had confidence issues in 1 meter waves in Florida, right? Once he left the 1 meter waves of Florida to do the Banzai pipeline, etc. You actually have, so hard to do this. You actually have 6 numbers in the physical plane. So you technically if you worked on 7, would be a physical master. This in the past, I've never done this before. It's so hard. This arrow here, 357, is known as hypercritical. This arrow here, 258, is known as hypersensitive. I have it myself. So I've beta tested these things. And when I say it's not my subjectivism, I can actually follow the numbers in the matrix, because the matrix is, I'm going, it's such a, doing such a bad job, and might as well just finish it. This is the pattern of it. And these are like numbers that all fit. Your heart is formed by that. Your lungs are formed by that. Your eyes are formed by that. Your bottom, all your good bits are formed by that. This is a toroidal field, and the toroidal fields had that shape that we know from the Knights Templar back in the days. Crown. They're very smart, because it's a toroidal field, and a toroidal field is that which forms everything. It's free energy. So, you ask the kids, how can kids run away? How can the breatharians not eat for like 60, 70 days? Because they're in a toroidal field. So they're operating in a natural field. So to go to your question, I'm getting excited. So you start with the day someone's born, and you say that's your personality. And then you look at that number and you describe it with them, and you go through the words. And there are positive words, there are negative words, and there are dualities. So behind me, there are 18 positive words, 6 negative words, and 2 dualities. You could each person has a character. Okay, each number has a character, it has a personality. 1 is the awakened self, 2 is the perceptive self, 3 is the playful self, 4 is the receptive self. It is the bottom of the kundalini. Okay, 5 is the heart of the matter. It's the grand central station. It's the purposeful self. 6 is the inner self. And this is looked at hundreds and hundreds of words and boiled down, condensed down to the best 5 words to describe it. Okay, 6 is the inner self, 7 is the present self, 8 is the powerful self, and 9 is idealism real. It's the source number. Okay, And if you ask any numerologist or mathematician, they'll tell you 9 is just a crazy good number. So you start with the personality, then you do the life path number, then you look at the soul urge and you say your soul urge is a 27-9, Andrena, same as your life path number. And you look at the 27-9 words, and the person will resonate with one of those words. In the chapter, I think it might be the first book ever I've written 60 to 70 words on 27-9. So you can look at that frequency. And we didn't do that, you and I, so much, but you can look at those words, and one word can make or break you. Yeah. If anyone can ever remember the worst thing anyone's ever said to them, it can often break them. You spell a word. Okay. You make a sentence, and that sentence either is positive or negative for you. So you use this as a personal growth, self-awareness exercise for people to look at themselves with an accurate matrix. When you have the numbers in there, if you have 3 in a row, it's a strength. If you have 3 missing, it's a weakness. If you don't have 3 in a row, it's a potential weakness. It's like a break in the chain of pearls. So you look for the pearl that's missing, and you read up on that number, and you find out as much as you can about that number to see what you're missing. So in your case, you're missing 357. You're developed enough to probably fix those numbers by this age. Yet there might be a time in your life where you were really hypercritical, but at your age, it's very rare to have that aware square. So no wonder, I tell a lie, I think you've got the freedom square, because it was around the other way. You've got the freedom square, excuse me. All right. So a real need for freedom and expansion, and creating an environment like this environment for change. Right. That's what this whole group is about you creating a level of consciousness that can be accessed. I worked in a group called Freedom Potentials and Spirit of Freedom for 10 years of my life. It was a real study. What Dan will say is he'll say freedom's the 5 word, but freedom actually is a 3912 3 word, exactly the same as illusion. Now, what was the Matrix about? The movies with Keanu Reeves was all about freedom from the illusion, have exactly the same vibrational match. And when you understand, when you start to study the numbers, they become like friends. They talk to you, and they tell you things that you don't know, like 3912-3. 12 is 12 hours of a day, 12 months of a year, 12 signs of a zodiac. It's the number for Meta. Facebook use it, Meta. It's 6 above, 6 below. It's the perfect correspondence. So you can look at these things. So you look at the day you're born, you look at your life path number over 3 stages, you look at your soul urge, you look at your ego urge, and you look at your combined urge. Most people are done with that. Then you look at a chart and you just say, okay, on this chart, I can see, this is much better, I can see there are weaknesses. These ones here, it's the opposite on my brain, these ones here are weaknesses that you've had to turn into strengths. That this one here, hypersensitive, is a tough one, and you're a spiritual teacher. I have that too. And it's as if you've got no spiritual numbers. Your sister had about three or four. And this other one, it's so hard. The screen's counterintuitive. I've got to reverse my brain to show you, which I've not seen before. But your chart, I can see that, like what part of the donut you're missing. Because this is a donut here like this, right? That's a donut. I can see the numbers there that you're missing, right? And I can see the numbers you're missing on those. So what you do is you read up on those numbers, and you turn a weakness into a strength just by polyfiller, gap filler, by filling in the education that was missing. Or you remember what you have. Now, final thing, you have a child born on the 2nd of the 2nd, 2000. They've got 8 weaknesses and 1 strength. But they completely have come here for one focus, which is relationship, to fix the planet up. They're the new humans. And their purpose is to bring in a new vibration. I saw something today, they were talking about 2 Earths. They've been talking about this for quite some time. That one Earth will just lift into a vibration. In the same one, they'll just be left with all the, death, murder, all the stuff going on in Israel right now. And there are timelines. So in order to describe these timelines, what I've done in my book is I've gone through all of the major psychologies. Like Dan did a few, and I studied his laws. And his laws were in there, were biased to certain numbers. So was the Tao, so was gene codes. So I've balanced up all the numbers to make the matrix the same. You understand? It's really important you fill the 9 numbers equally.
Yeah.
Because it's Apple is a bite out of the toroidal field. That company that's so successful is working with the toroidal field. They call it a unified field in physics, quantum field if you're trying to be flash, but it's really a great big, beautiful spinning torus. Okay. And those 9 numbers there are a spinning torus. It's two-dimensional to everyone else that looks at it, but to me, I can make that thing come alive and share it with people. And I was saying to you before the show started, a friend of mine is trying to take out glyphosate. She hates it, right? It's Agent Orange. It's the thing we spray on crops and whatever. And she's like the leading expert in this country. And I did her combined urge, which is, it's like Avatar. Why is the soul in the body? What is the avatar doing in the body? Which is a 9 word. And her combined urge was exactly the same number, like 7613.4 as glyphosate. So she was a vibrational match for glyphosate. So when you do a study on a person, you just come in and ask them questions. I promise you, almost every client I speak to gives me a sentence that completely matches something they're meant to be here for. They've come into a frequency with a frequency called words, and they're learning to match the frequency in words. Yeah. And sometimes this frequency requires a swear word, F you. And sometimes it requires I love you with everything I've got. You follow? You have to be able to, Jeff at the start before this thing, you gave me a bit of whack, to get going kind of thing. And it's great. It's so long as you can actually get the frequencies, you can get your life. Yeah. Yeah. So it's the first numerology where there are 9 styles of words that create 9 vibrations, A to I, funny enough. Interesting. A is 1, I is 9. Interesting, that one, AI. And then from very low frequency to very high frequency, you can match, as Einstein and Tesla said, whatever you want. If you can match it, you can have it. Yeah? Yeah. So it teaches people anything. It's a study that will cover anything. I use it in my mentoring practice to help all my clients. And if they ask me a question, I can actually answer it now, and I never could before.
Wow.
So that's all I have. Yeah. Okay.
That's all. Hang on. That's amazing. No, looking at my 5 ones, I know somebody told me once years ago that I have to have my fingers in the soil to be grounded with all those ones. Anyway, so working on that one. Okay, so right, that was my birth name numbers. How does it?
Can I just tell you how they were accurate? Soil is a 1910-1. So soil is a 1 word. So that person, and you're a very good person, Andrena, so you can hear it in your accent. You're tonally correct. So you're going to attract someone giving you the right thing. And soil is a 1-9. I was just talking about that. So I can't do it. Soil goes, it's impossible to do it. I can't. Soil, counterintuitive. Soil goes 1 to 9, exactly what I was talking about, AI. And then you talked about 1910-1, soil is a 1 word. There are 9 different words you could have picked from, and you picked soil, which is 1 word, right? That's how matchy we get when we start getting in the right frequency.
It makes a lot of sense, and it's a total different way to looking at things. So can we move on and ask about like when we get married, we take on a different name. So how does that affect our vibration and our numbers then? And I know a lot of people change their names to because it enhances their business or different things like that. Personally, I like my name, Andrena Forrest, and I don't feel I need to choose it, change it. I mean, wow, that's interesting. So where does Earth come in then? Because obviously soil is the Earth. We're on the Earth.
On the name, do you want me to be honest?
Yeah, just out of interest, because we're talking about soil, which is the Earth.
Yeah. Earth is a 25-7, and it's perfectly balanced because 7's there. Jeepers, I just can't get there. It's a different. So 7 is there. Earth is a 25-7, right? So if you look at 2, which is negative, and 7, which is positive, and 5 basically anything that basically is grounding. 7 is the most. We're in a 7 year right now. We're grounding something, and trust me, whatever's going on in the world, we've got another 2 years to go of it, right? Because it works in 9-year cycles. I haven't beta tested this so much, yet everything goes in nanos of 9s, from 9 nanoseconds through to 9 seconds, 9 months like a baby, 9 years, 18, 27. Think about those years, etc. So look, I'll go with my psychic, okay, and then I'm going to lose some people here, and then I will apologize. My psychic came in initially. Why do people change things? Because no, I can't say that. When you've got your birth blood, you've got your bloodlines coming into you, right? When I had my awakening, I knew Kundalini was all about working with my ancestry. I can pretend that I'm not a Buckley, which is funny enough. Buckley is a 25/7 name, and you're asking about nature and earth, which is a 25/7. Listen, humble, free, grace, story are 25/7s, okay? And 7, look, the beautiful purple behind me, it is the year we're in right now. We need to be humble. We need to listen. There's a story going on, okay? And when you have your name, when you're born, women particularly grow a little bit more than men, because you start with a name and you can lose it a number of times in marriage, etc. And a lot of women feel like they've lost themselves in various names, okay? I know a lot of women particularly are very happy to get away from their family name, yet, you know, I think with your chart from memory, and I think your sister particularly, but your family name is a 34/7, Harvey, your birth name, and your sister's soul urge was 34/7, the same as mine. So you know how with your astrology, one of your kids, and think about this, there's only 3 things: your sun, your moon, and ascendant. Your kids generally have one of those things, which is a 1 in 4, right? And they'll have a match or an opposite. So there's normally a tie-in. I think the family name is massive, and I think, say with a business, I think you've got to look at your motivation for changing your business name, and most of it's money. I see very few people actually have a different currency than money when they name a business, very few. So it's generally about money, and you can feel that. With a name change, it's about blood, it's about karma, it's about epigenetics, and it's massive. So when you change your name, even when you don't use a middle name, you've both got 2 middle names, you and your sister. You know, it was great to see Lynette. It's the name of my very first girlfriend when I was 7 years of age. You know, I love Lynette. And you've got Maud and Claude in my family. You're a Maud. Well, my great uncle Maud jumped in front of Claude to save her life in a car accident in Sydney. What a brave man. He just threw himself in front of a car to do that. So I believe we all have a vibration that we come here to bring. I think your first name, your given name is often you call it. I called my daughter's name 4 days, before she was born, Kaya, and 4 days old, she shouted her name out. Now, I'm sure she told me her name because both wives let me name the kids, and I wasn't a numerologist back then. So I was hearing, because I'm clairaudient, I was hearing them telling me their names. So the name is very significant. The middle name is generally a saint name or a grandparent name or something significant. It's a powerful name. It's different. And the surname carries a lot of blood, a lot of mana, a lot of life force, and it's massive. So when you jump away from that, my first thought is cop out. If you choose to change it to get away from it. My mother did that. She changed her name more than anyone you could ever imagine because she was getting away from the blood, from the problems, you know? So in my readings, they're quite gnarly. I say to people, come on, let's go back and feel the life force in this name. And often there's a get out the kitchen feeling. It's like, I don't want to go in there. But if they do go in there, they channel the grief and the blood and the sweat and the tears of that name, and it clears it epigenetically for the kids that are coming through. So, you know, you can decide what sort of person you are. I'm not into business name changing. There's a lot of money made in that. And obviously a name like Apple or whatever they do is awesome. Yet the name is, yeah, it's probably the biggest part of numerology, to be honest, because you're using the word in a name to define who you are. And the biggest thing in numerology is making decisions with words to decide your destination. It's the thing I haven't covered here. Why do we use a GPS in a car? Because we're here and we want to know how to get there in the best way possible. That's what numerology does. It helps people get to where they want. So I can explain someone's 3 options in their names, and they can go, that's the easy route, the cop-out route maybe, that's the hard route, and that one's the super hard route. And everyone can decide whatever route they want to take. It's not my business. Yet I try to confront as much as possible. So that's why I gave up money a long time ago, to confront something I've never confronted, which is, the poverty of a spiritual kind of person. Yet the richness of my life has been 10 times what it was when I was making 20 grand, 30 grand a month in the 90s. Yeah.
It's funny because I was named after both grands. And I've never liked those names. And in the numerology years ago, somebody said those names don't do anything for you.
Hey, can I just butt in there?
It's an opinion.
Yeah.
Sorry?
I'll just butt in there. For me personally, my bank account was hacked. Yeah. And I was taken by surprise because it came from the Commonwealth Bank.
I'll show her names. They're there.
Oh,
God.
Oh, you're back. Listen, okay, my bank account was hacked, and that's only because I got a SMS text that came through all the Commonwealth Bank SMS threads to say that there'd been fraudulent activity on my account, and I went and clicked it, and I've never used the app to actually make a payment, but I had to make a payment, and as a consequence, half an hour later, when they said fraudulent activity, when I clicked onto it, I didn't realize at the time that it was a phishing site, a spamming site. But that was on a Sunday, and then on Wednesday, I got sent another SMS on the same SMS thread from the Commonwealth Bank to say there's been fraudulent activity on your account. Please check your account and then ring us. And of course, when they told me what had actually happened, then shortly afterwards, I was just had to do a whole lot of things within a short space of time, which included resetting my phone. But I was told that they'd been on my phone since Sunday, and they would have had my identity, and as a consequence, they called it identity theft. And as a consequence, I went and gave myself a second middle name, and lo and behold, that second middle name was going to be my original middle name. So,
wow, yeah,
it's an interesting energy, because the girls have said, what happens when you change your name and you get married and you go back. But mine was a situation that occurred out of left field, and as a consequence, when I put this, gave myself a second name just to overcome that issue, I had to go to the birth, deaths, and names places, and then the Electoral Commission, and then to the banks and everything else that went with it. It's quite a surreal position to go and do, isn't it? To find that you've been laid naked to the world based on a fraudulent activity.
Yeah, absolutely. I just did the number on bank account was hacked when you're there, and funny enough, it matches one of Andrena's words. But it also, what I like, if I look just straight to the energy, because there's too much to talk about, the way you're speaking about at the end, though, is you've come up with some inspiration, right? And it says opportunity, serendipity, because it must be serendipity, because it happens for you, whether you like it or not, it happened. And it's confirming something for you. It's a stepping stone, and yeah, it's also the same numbers don't lie, and it's Andrena's egoic urge, right? So, it's a direct match on this 63-9 word number she's got there, and bank account got matched as 63. Doesn't sound like much, but there's 20 frequencies of 9, and you've talked about a 4-word sentence that matches something about Andrena. Andrena's on the call right now. What the hell that makes, I don't know, but certainly in there it's got overanalyzing, which I could be doing. Numbers don't lie. You can't have it all. Allow for magic and inspiration, serendipity, significance, experienced opportunity, youthful folly, metamorphosis. If there's nothing in there for you, but sometimes what I find, my teacher used to tell me some stuff. 4 years later, I'd be walking down the road and I'd be going, God, I was really thick back then. Now I understand what he means. And I get this clunk, smack, how I'd understand why that thing happened. And when you know yourself and you know your frequency, you know your life, So My kids teach me all the time, Jeff, because I'm always getting stuff by some kind of thing linked to doing things at the moment with the exact perfect logo telling me I owe them a toll thing. And I'm like, I'm sure I've paid the bill. And my kids just look at it and go, look at that URL, because my daughter works in PR at a higher level. And she just, we are not so good at being hacked as the kids of today. You know, they just see it. Like it's a frequency we need to learn. It's going to happen a lot. Yeah.
Anyway, the Commonwealth Bank gave me the money back anyway.
Great. Yeah. A friend of mine just got hacked the other day, loaned some money off me. He was very depressed with it, you know. But hacked is a 23.5, which is the same number as core life help. So I think people who are getting hacked at the moment need core life help. They need to understand it's right in the center of the matrix, and it's going to happen a lot. It's a Grand Central Station thing. You know, these hackers just know how to get us, you know. You know, I'm reaching here, but you know, there's definitely some math in there. So yeah, I haven't got much more. I mean, there's heaps to say about this. I could take a tangent on anything, but words create worlds. There's only one law called mentalism. There's only one law, and mentalism is split into many other laws, and it's basically correspondence, as above, so below, vibration, which is what I'm studying here with you today, polarity, which is always as a positive and negative identity, which you asked about nature before, and earth, right? It has a positive and negative identity. No, one animal's positive is another one's negative. It's just part of the most grounded, mindful, present number of all. 7 is earth is present. You know, if there anything, nobody notices the earth. Nobody says thank you to the earth for creating a tree or whatever it does. And it's as present as all hell, you know. So what I do with this is I just use it as a Bible for me to use a word to match a world, and then I sit with it. And like most of my clients don't notice the earth below their feet, and it's a big deal for a lot of people. A guy brought out the grounded thing way back. He was in Alaska, and all his friends had major health problems, so he got a rod on. He was a telephone salesman kind of guy. Put a copper rod on their feet, stuck it through the snow into the earth, and their eczema went away. Some of them even got up and walked. They were breathing better, you know, whatever. This, for me, hopefully, is a grounding rod for numerology, where I can actually say, hey, I can give you some real numbers about the real location that you exist. Where Jeff is a bunch of zeros and ones. Where you are, Andrena, where I am, and they're all different zeros and ones. But it's complete mass to say where you sit in the world, different than anyone else. If I do get a chance to show you how free energy works and how Tesla's 369 works and how this toroidal field really spins behind me, it gets massive. But initially, yes, people are hedonistic. They want to know about their name. They want to know where they go with that. They want to know what decisions. They want to know how do they strengthen themselves. I've got a question here.
Yeah,
do you think efforts?
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah. So maybe you could come back and talk about 369 and free energy, you know, on another time. What was I going to ask you then? So if people are looking to set up a business or organization or anything like that, what would they need to look for to get the right vibration to be able to take that forward?
The most important thing is they don't fake anything. So they just unabashedly get their clothes off or get in a room with people. I mean, I coach one of the top CEOs in the country at the moment, and he's going to take my numerology into some things because he believes in me, and it's lovely. And I coached him 20 years ago, and I didn't know this stuff. The most important thing is everyone gets naked and unabashedly truthful about what the business is about. And if it's about a currency other than money, I think it'll go really well. And then you brainstorm what comes out of their mouth. You write down the sentences. You write down the values. You hear the custard and the tripe and the cherries and the vine. You hear whatever comes out, and you write it all down, and then you reflect it back to them. I spent, with one modality I was in, up to 4 hours writing down everything someone said with 50 questions. My teacher could tell when my pen went to shit that I had no vibrational match with them. I couldn't deal with the energy they were giving me, but they could tell when my pen was perfect. My mum was a famous graphologist. She read Peter Sutcliffe, right? And Peter Sutcliffe was one of the major killers in England. And when she got the piece of paper, she didn't know who she was. She dropped it. She's a graphologist. They're the ones they didn't burn back in the days because they were calligraphers, right? They could do calligraphy, so they just said they're calligraphers, not graphologists. She could read your handwriting in your ink. So what I do is I write everything people do in ink. She's left that little legacy to me. I write everything people do in ink. And if my writing is beautiful, there's a resonant frequency with me, and I feel they're speaking poetry, like Pavarotti singing to me. So you reflect back what people are saying to you, and then you do the numbers. And in a normal session, there's normally a complete number match with something that comes out of someone's mouth. So then she says, wow, that's for me. He says, that's for me. And they say, that's for me. And in the three directors, you get together and come up with a mission statement that has those words in there. For a bit of fun, just at the end, I'll just say I looked up numerology, right, on AI, because I looked at the 10 most values, and they were quite good, but it was pretty boring. It was like a robot talking. And I looked at numerology, and it was quite insulting. It eventually got down. It's a bit of fun, bit of mystery, etc. But it's nothing. It's novelty, right? And then I went, okay, let's look up maths with AI. And I looked up maths, and mathematics was both an art and science. It was divine. It was self-fulfilling prophecy. It was just God in a great thing. I've just told you my kids top the state in maths, and the maths you learnt in school, because they do 1 in 5 days maths. These kids nowadays, they're four 1 hour 10-minute sessions. It's numbing. I've taught maths. It's just numbing. A friend of mine is probably the top numbers guy possibly in the world and loves my stuff. Says I'm a genius and I'm on track. Jane, he's tried to teach sacred geometry, okay, and it just doesn't get out there because they demonize it. The Christian side of us go, oh, they're talking about horns and it's just weird and whatever. But you can take a humble pine cone and you can see a Fibonacci sequence in it, right? Fibonacci is 1 and 1. 1 and 1 make 2. 1 and 2 make 3. 2 and 3 make 5. 3 and 5 make 8. 5 and 8 make 13. 8 and 13 make 21. Stop there. You can get your pine cone and you can do the spirals. You just draw them with a pen and you'll see there's 8 spirals going one way on the pine cone. Turn it around and there's 13 going the other way. There's sacred geometry right there. A whole body is formed by zeros and ones. So if you write down, and obviously I must seem full on and crazy, whatever, but like if you write down everything people say, you can't miss it if you record it. And then eventually you feed it back to them and they say, oh my God, we're going to call our business Pine Cone. And it's going to have meaning and reason, and away it goes. You know, it'll just come out of the mouth of babes, and also out of the mouth of old people comes babes, if you listen. So everybody has it inside there. Everyone's got a number one hit inside themselves. That's why I ran a business called Be Yourself. You just have to find the frequency. And this is the final thing in my work, is everybody has a success frequency. Everyone has a novel frequency inside themselves that no one else has. And when that's removed from the universe is poorer for it. So if you can remember what that is in the universe whilst you're alive, that's your resonant frequency. And the law of attraction does not work without the law of vibration, which is that third law that I stopped at before. And then you've got polarity, then you've got rhythm and flow between the polarity, and you've got cause and effect and gender. And gender is a big thing in the world at the moment. So you actually have to appease the gender interest that's going on right now. And there's a real swing and a thing going on there. And if you encapsulate all those 7 laws and your mentalism is right, and you create a word or a sentence or a grab sentence for what you're doing, you're unstoppable, you know, because it's a done deal. Most things in the world that are successful are a done deal. Yeah. It's a handshake before the handshake even happened. And if you can get in a room where people see that, my friend Mark runs, I'm proud to say, rent.com. Think about that. Like rent.com is a pretty good name. And he got that way back, and he does sell your house for $1,000. You know, my stepfather's house, if we sell, that's like $50,000 commission, 1,000. So there's people out there with beautiful ideas, and they've got such integrity. You just got to find your idea. My business will Be Yourself. When we did Be Yourself in 2006, authenticity was the big buzzword. I could get every website in the world that said Be Yourself. All of them were available. No one had a business with that name. So when you get the right name, it just grabs. Yeah.
Yeah, interesting. Because I know I had a reading with a lady in Australia, and when she did my name and numbers, and I think I had to bring out another name using P, D, L, so some of the missing numbers. And so I used the word Stolafina because I like my dolphin connection. But also she said business wise, because I use soul tone for the voice and sound work. And she said that, you know, that would really be it for me. But I have to say, it's not ever really done anything. But, you know,
I'd love to do it with you. I'd love to do it with you because I can feel, we're all psychic, right? I can feel what you've got in your guts. And most good sound, my dad's one of the best voice guys in the world in his day. And Jeff's got a great voice. Anyone radio's got a good voice. And if I think about my dad, my voice is now getting like radio. Look at me, I know radio. You get this resonant frequency that comes out of you. And when you hit it, it's hit. One thing hits the other. It's like in the quantum, if you spin one thing this way, sorry, my hands, you spin one thing this way, it's the same, yes? So when you get yourself, the universe gets you at the same time. And you wonder how those people they're sometimes very lucky. My friend Nick is one of my best mates, has got famous, they look after lots of top people. And they said to Nick one day, we could make you successful, like Milli Vanilli, who can't sing, we can make you do that. You can make anyone successful. But if you want to be a success without trying to be successful, and it may not be on people's terms. And Andrena, I think you're already a success on your own term. Having said that, I don't think you found the name. And I could sit with you 20 minutes, we could find it without trying to manipulate the numbers. And that's what people do. It's money-based. A lot of numerologists are money-based. And I know my friends have done it to get more money. Their integrity hasn't changed, though. They just made more money. And like, I come from a very wealthy family, and having more money and no more integrity, that's not the reason we're here for. We're here for more integrity. And if money comes as a result of that, so be it. Yeah? Because when we're lying on our deathbeds, we're not going to wish we spent more hours in the office and made more money, because we'll be worried about the integrity that we left the planet with. And that's why I do this for bloody no money, I tell you. And because I know it will do some good. I've just got to get better at it before I die, you know? Yeah.
Wow. I do. Well, you say get better at it, but I mean, it's phenomenal what you've just shared. Absolutely amazing. And like, you know, there's the worksheet that people can fill in. They, you know, got your website and email and your number, and to follow it up. I mean, you know, like I would like to get the book. I like to have a book in front of me. I don't like printing off copies, like, you know, so. And then, like, I'll take on board what you say to have a look how I can fill in those gaps to see, you know, what the next step is along the track, if you like. But yeah, no, it's phenomenal.
I'm really rare, Andrena, too. I'm one of those freak people that will give 15 minutes free to anybody, anytime, forever. I've done it. I've done more charity than anyone I know. Not money, but giving my time, stuff like that, right? And like, I genuinely, you know, I'm lucky I've got people can pay, and I've got people can't. Sometimes I look at them and go, don't pay. I've got a group on tonight. It's running, probably 2-3 people not paying because they can't afford it. It's like, I don't give a crap. You know, I ran 3 free groups during COVID. My sister's married to a director of Johnson & Johnson. You think I don't know some stuff? And like, I ran 3 groups during COVID because a lot of people weren't going to be here anymore. And I was really happy to run those groups for free. You know, there was fun. You know, like there were some real deep things happen. The biggest thing for me as a human, though, as my daughter was, I'm writing a book called 210 Feet. And my daughter, I was saying, what are you looking at buildings 210 feet? She said, that's the height you need to get it done, Dad. And I'm like, what? You're thinking about that? Everything else is second to that. So my girlfriend's come back. She works on the block with her brother, who's a producer of the block, right? And like, my whole life is my kid, because I'm not being rude. I fucked up because I missed it, and I haven't missed it since. So I'm making sure I don't miss anything before I go, right? So if anybody getting missed and they want to speak to me about a name in your business, Andrea, so you could be more successful or more powerful or whatever, that'll be hard. But your numbers are freaky good. I'm not pulling, your numbers are freaky good. You don't need any thought to know that those 3 numbers are all 9s up there. You know, do the math on that. If you know probabilities, you've got my mentor is the same. He's a cabin flight director of Qantas. He's a human angel. Jeff knew me before because we were in a men's group together. I was a bit of an a-hole back in those days. I was just doing my best. I'm a good guy now, and I intend to get better every day for the rest of my life. And my biggest thing, my next book will be The 21st Century Child. It's only going to be 20 pages. There's not much to say, and just get people to learn how to read their kids' charts. Because the good thing is when you can read someone else's chart, even someone at work, you know, it's easy with guys because you know their full name. With women, you have to say, excuse me, can I have your maiden name? The name they're vibrating with now is fine. It is often a fraud to the maiden name, because the maiden name tells you the details. There are plenty of people in this world that do not know what went on in their families, have no idea, and they're acting out that like how the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, and they don't know why they are like that. If the parents above and the grandparents can be honest about what it was really like and what they were like, they can then pass that on. Okay, so it's an epigenetic life, and you know, I can talk about the bloodlines and the maths in there. And when you get a word, it's like a log jam sometimes. People's lives are like a log jam, and if you can get a bit of dynamite or a word to come in and just free them out, it's people's minds need freeing still to this day. And you're definitely a freedom merchant for sure. There's a toroidal field on that one just there. It's the sense of it. Oh. You're definitely a freedom person. And Jeff is definitely power, massive power. And like, just keep doing it. There's no doubt you won't, you know, more people get on the show. It's a very smart thing. Everyone gets the benefit of the platform that you give us. It's just awesome, you know.
Well, it's our privilege to be, you know, for people to share in what they're doing and dreaming the new dream and helping humanity. And I always say, how can I be the best version of me so I can help others be the best version of themselves? So that's my, you know, whether it's a hug, a smile, some healing, yes, telling them about herbs or whatever, you know, just giving people stepping stones to be able to help themselves.
Yeah. And stepping stones is a 63, and you used it naturally just then. And one of my clients, she was working with me once, and she said, I was just a stepping stone in my husband's life. Right? Stepping stone is a 62. Stepping stones is a 63. It's just one thing. And she said, okay, I wrote that down. And then her combined urge was a 62. And she looked up and she said, well, I said, you pulled that in, honey. That's because you understand our life is often led before we lead it. I've been here before many times, and there's plenty of times I've got to a junction. I've led this life thousands of times. It's like a computer game. Now I want to turn left rather than turning right. It was freaky being on here today because I know how to reverse my brain. It's different on your life. I couldn't get my pen to work the way I wanted to do. It's like I've got chains on here. If they're bound out, it's really hard in the mirror to do it. Looking in a mirror, if you look down at it, it's much easier because it's reversed, you know. And I'm a Gemini. I would think I could do it, but it's done my head in tonight. It's been awesome, you know, because I've got somewhere to grow. Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we've just been going through your book there. So how do people get your book there, Kean?
The 0+9.com. I'm having the final editing thing done. It will go on Amazon, all that kind of stuff. But you can get it as a PDF. 0+9.com in words, and it's got the first book is called The Power of Numbers, which basically explains how the source code, which you can't explain it, it's a thing before space and time, man, female, I mean, who's God's dad, you don't know. It became a 0 and 1, then it became a 0 and 9 vibrations, and that's all there is. That's all she wrote. So there's only 10 numbers, okay? That explains all those numbers. And then the second book is The Power of Vibration, which explains the whole body of work that I have in one book, 80 pages, like everything I'm doing, how I've upgraded numerology, how it works, what the arrows are called, etc. Yeah, they're both on there. And there's a free PDF if you don't want to buy anything and you just want to have a go. And the website, my friend, his wife runs the biggest tarot site in the world, and he's getting behind me now. We're going to start putting some things into that website.
Brilliant. Wow, full steam ahead for you.
And I'm just doing sincere, which is a 1910-1 urge. So that goes back to the word soil that you've already brought here today, only 2 words. Then we've got 6, 9, 18. 18 is the number for real love, care, always, avatar. It was in bank account, was hacked, was 18. So there's not many numbers we did today. And that's a 37, sincere. So you're the number I most see in you is the same thing as spirit. You know? Yeah, 37 is that number that goes from the, I can't do that number again. How do we go? I can't do it. 3 from the top down to 7 at the bottom, yeah? And that's the number you've got missing. So sincere is how you fixed yourself. Because you're, I mean, a lot of people, sincere is the word that just leaps out when I think about you. So if I was in a room with you and we were doing a business, I'd put, 5 things down. I think everyone would say 5 gifts when they think of Andrena and Jeff and me. And you see if your gifts match the business that you're in, because values are massive. Our values are everything. Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, the word God. Yeah. I mean, yes. The repetition of the word God. How energetically does that work for people?
It's massive, because you can see where my ears are at the moment. I'm not going to even try and get my hands up there. 1 is air and 7 is earth, right? So 147 where I am now is the physical plane. So God is a 17.8. So it goes right underneath us. It covers the fear and denial, goes right on the physical plane, 178. And so many, in my book, I've got like gods from every single culture that I can think of. So many gods are 8. 8's known as a very, very powerful number. So God is there. It's 1 through to 7 up to 8. If I look at my book really quickly, I'll just see if there are any other words that would resonate with God. We've got sense, eye, womb. That's God for a lot of people. Heal, karma, values. I was just talking about values. Ki, which is the Japanese word for energy. Clean, naked, orb, which a lot of people see. That's the light of someone that's passed as an orb. I see orbs with the naked eye. God, space, savvy, success. And that's probably the success is to, I saw a really good kid on YouTube today, knows himself fully from another life. And he was explaining what God was. He said he's the one that explained time and space, created soul and spirit. And he's innate within all of us. So in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God. Well, if God is inside us, then we have the Word. Yeah,
correct.
Yeah, totally. And word is a 24/7, same as nature. It's in our nature to have the Word. Yeah. So maybe after this one, everyone get the free PDF and look up 7, and because we've talked a lot about 7 today, we're in a 7 year, and just see if there's any words that relate with you. I can see right behind me, clear as day, the dualities for 7: aligned versus blocked. So aligned is 7, 8, 9, right? That's right up to source, and blocked is when you're blocked. So if you don't believe in God and you don't believe He's inside you or she's inside you, you're stuck. Yeah, yeah. And then the other duality I'm looking back here is present versus hidden. Present versus hidden. How many people are hidden? They're hiding their light behind a bush. They're not out there. They're not present. It takes a lot of guts to be present, and when you do, you can sometimes attract a bit of ire or concern about how you are. But just and be are 7s. B is a 2, E is a 5, 7, and that's really we're here to do. The probably best thing I could say right now is somebody did a report on intelligence, and he said, can you write down what the most intelligent thing you could tell a human in 500 words? Okay, now 100, now 50, now 15, now 5, now 2, now 1. And the final word they came with was a 10 word, and it was is. Right? We're just here to be is, ourselves. That's the whole thing. What is that is? That's God.
Wow. So much information. I know you mentioned about the arrows, but I don't know. Can you?
Yeah. Yes, I can. Okay, so most people's arrows in the past, 1, 2, 3 was thought, when in fact thought is a 3, 6, 9. Thought is a 3, 6, 9. Tesla, think about it. Divine is a 3, 6, 9. So 3, 6, 9 is actually across the top, not 1, 2, 3, like some numerologists have. The word thought follows 3, 6, 9. Thoughtful is a sorry, it's I'm just getting my head around it. 36. This is 39, 12, 3. So thoughtful is the same as freedom and illusion I was talking about before, and passion. Thoughtfulness is I can't get there. My brain's going, but it's the thought. 369 is the top plane, is the thought plane. So you can see the blue arrow on the side there. It's the thought plane. If you've mastered that, you have knowing. A lot of people say, I know, okay, and they don't. They don't. It's intellect, okay? And intellect is a full spirit. It's a 357 word, 3710 word, and it takes us down into deep depression. The fact we think we know something and we're not. A lot of my close friends and family members hugely depressed. I have no 4, 5, 7, and 8 in my chart, a block of 4, and that's the black hole of Calcutta. It's heavy depression. So 258 is the sense plane. If you don't have 258, you have hypersense. Okay, and a lot of psychics, spirituals, mediums, that kind of stuff, they're missing the 258. So they've had to really work that one. You and I both have those missing, Andrena. Okay, if you have 147, okay, you're a physical master. Okay, and if you master that, you understand soul. If you have 1, 2, 3, you have intention. When there's a person with no 1, 2, 3 in their chart, will have true benevolence. So that'll be 4,000. We're about 2,000 years away with being advanced culture. Okay, when you have 4, 5, 6, that's Kundalini, that's natural. Okay, when you've got those in place, and you're balanced, so that's your stature. 4, 5, 6, and that pattern actually goes through there. And then when you have 7, 8, 9, when you have 159, this is old numerology and it's accurate. It's the only arrow of the old numerology that's accurate. 159 is determination. It's the focus, it's the path, it's the codes, it's the sound, it's the AI. It's getting one thing to another. That's not changed. And when you have no 357, you're hypocritical. And then when you have no 789, you're in denial. We haven't had that till this century, because we've always had 1900 people. And the best one of all, it's really funny, if you meet anyone that doesn't have 4, 5, 6 in their life path number, in their numbers of their life path, they'll always tell you they're frustrated. Always. Every time they kind of laugh at you. Those people have really accepted themselves, and they need to work on their Kundalini. And the chakras all go in frequency 369, 369, 369. So the chakras go through 4, 5, 6, but it's the 369 thought that sets up the chakras. So those arrows are quite accurate. When you have, I've got to remember it when I've said the arrow of the four numbers missing is a big weakness. And for the first time ever, we've had kids with 5, 8, 6, and 9 missing. And that can be seen either a large level of awareness or unawareness, depending on the kid. And in old numerology, if you've got 3, 6, 9 missing, it's an old one to say that the kid's a bit forgetful. And the parents will often say, yes, they are, but there's a genius there. Their ADHD is in one of the numbers we looked at today, and I see that as boring education. There's no such thing as attention deficit hyperactive disorder. The kids don't have an interest because what you're teaching is boring, and it's not a disorder that they find what you're doing is boring. It does not apply to them. Find something that applies to them, and you won't be labeling with ADHD. So the next step now will be to actually make this grid a little bit more kid-friendly. My friend whose wife runs the biggest tarot site, 3 used to be the determined self, and she said, this is boring and there's nothing fun in here. So 3 is the dragonfly and the butterfly, and so we called it the playful self. And 3 is most people's number one value is happy and family, and both of them are 30s. So it's a clean 3 with a 0 amplifying the gift. A 0, which is not in historic numerology with the numbers. The 0 is the nothingness amplifying the everythingness. And interesting, Andrena, you don't have any zeros. So you've worked quite a masculine chart. But Andrena, your name saves the day, because that 30. Oh, I'm doing it again. Can you see my finger there? That 30 for your name. Oh, yeah. Do it. It's like so counterintuitive. Yeah, that's 39, right? And it looks like a normal symbol. So that's family and happy, and that's, you must have a good heart. And your sister looks like a carbon copy of you, just a bit younger, I think. I'm not sure, but like you're completely, The more zero people have got, because you can imagine the zero is like space. It's like the womb. No one thanks their womb for birthing themselves, etc., or the ovum for taking the sperm. I put a post up on my Facebook today showing, I heard this years ago, how the certain sperm is invited in based upon its genetics. You know, it's the perfect energy, you know. And I'm told that there's sacred geometry in the formation of a child. If anybody wants to do their numbers, like do 1 and then double it to 2, double it to 4, double it to 8, double it to 16. It follows a pattern of 1, 2, 4, 8, 7, 5, and there's no 3, 6, 9 in there. I can show you a toroidal field where the 3, 6, 9 does not get involved in cell division. And that's how the free energy is created. It's awesome. Everything I know can relate to this chart because this chart is accurate behind me. Yeah.
Hey,
Wow.
funny enough, I was going for a walk yesterday, and all of a sudden I thought, oh, that's really strange. My mother was born on the 7th. My dad was the 17th. I was the 27th. And then I went through my siblings, and I realized we had 9, 15, 21, 27. So the numbers incremented by 6. I don't know why, but yesterday going for a walk, that just popped into my head. So
Cool.
synchronicity.
So cool. Yeah. Absolutely. And there'll be a pattern there. I can't see it right now, but I'm born at 5:55, right? And I'm a 32-5. So my job is to look at the patterns, because 5 is sanskaras in I forget Hindu. It's a sign for scars and patterns. Schemas in psychology, habits, power, pattern, process. You know, you're seeing it, right? And I'd have to sit down and like do your whole chart and look and go, wow. But my friend that runs Barry Achatel spoke to me the other day, and I think you might know Barry, and he runs a decent platform doing this sort of stuff. And he had 3 grandchildren all born on the 20th. Right now, there's 31 days in a month, so 1 in 31 chance of being born on the 20th, and 3 in a row, so 20 times 20 times 20. That's a big number to have 3 kids all born on the 20th. Yeah, numbers don't lie. People do. So this is why, back to the very first question I was asked, is I use this to bust my clients on lying to me, and they're not just lying to me negatively; they're lying to me positive in code. And if I listen to their frequency, they're lying to me in a truth at a certain level. Now, if we want to ascend us guys, because part of this dreaming about, because someone says when you go to sleep, you're more awake when we're awake. Yeah. So when I'm asleep at night, which isn't as good as it used to be since I've got clear, I have to put a beanie on to shut it down. I'm like I need the alfoil on my head to stop it kind of thing. And I've got 6 numbers up at the top. So I'm really thinking biased, but I don't like feeling. No way. You heard me talk about my daughter just now. You can see my heart pouring out still 3 years later after her feeling suicidal. And I'm writing a book on it because it's helping me. If I can help one parent to see the signs before it happens to their kid. And I was told, sorry, let's put this into this thing. A friend of mine's kid suicided recently, and I did a session with her, and I did a brilliant session. She was laughing her head off, etc. And then she got some treatment, is all I'll say. And the next thing, she's not around, and I'm not okay about that. I think it's really important, whatever treatment we do has the right vibration for the kids. And the way you can tell is they smile. It's like a good joke. If your joke is good, not one of those forced smiles. If the joke is good, you can feel the heart open. And I think we've got to guide kids or open the space for them to live. So if you're seeing these numbers, Jeff, and like my friend with 320 kids at the moment, whatever it leads you to, numbers don't lie. Trust it. And all my students, I don't tell them to be under my thinking. It's like, well, how are you going to use this numerology? One of my clients took this to a show in Gympie recently, and all she did was do the colors because she loves colors and stuff, and did a few like party tricks in there, Andrena, and they loved it. They got something out of it. All that matters. What I love about my stuff, because one of my other students put me through another numerologist stuff, and as soon as she started talking, my head just went to mush like this. I was like a kid in the classroom going, what are you teaching me? I hate this, because she was teaching me another form of numerology, mystery school, and it wasn't accurate. And my mind is like, it's like I've combed my hair, and it's not too bad, but my hair feels like it's going north and south now. It's not like curly like it used to be. Like people got really curly hair, like Einstein's. Like I don't know what's going on. my hair feels like I feel like I'm in New York City, and I know where the avenues are and I know where the streets are because it's set perfectly. I'm not in Rome or London, which is a nightmare to navigate. Yeah. So that's what the source code is. She has described herself in a way that if we only listen to her, she is speaking in frequency, like mermaids singing. Dogs hear frequencies outside of our range, like that's what this work's about. It's about you tuning into your own innate frequencies, your Lemurian, Atlantis, whatever you're into. Like, Jeff, you're so different. Like, everybody's vive la différence. Everyone's different and everyone adds stuff. Yeah.
Right, can I ask
asking,
about...
do online classes? Yeah, just get in touch with me. I'll start them very soon.
Yeah. Just quickly, working out the numbers of each day, because like a couple of days ago, because like I'm a 9, Carol's a 9, my daughter's a 9, my granddaughter's a 9, so we've all sort of come in on that frequency. But with each day, whatever the number, like I am added up today, but say it's a 3 day, so would you be looking at your chart and thinking, right, what can I get the best out of it being a 3 day today? I mean, what was the day today?
12th, 10th, 2023. 11.
Yeah. Thanks, Jeff. 12th, 10th, 2023. So that's a 7. Is that right? Is it 12th or the 10th? Is it, or is it 13th? 12th.
10. So it's
12th or 10th.
So it's a 1 day today.
12th, 10th. Yeah, and we talked about one a little bit, so it's binary code. It's what we talked about on this thing, which is basically it's a 10, 0, 1 day. But most people just call that a 1 day and forget the 0 and junker and forget about it. Well, sorry. Sorry, I had a mum. I had a word.
0 off, don't they?
Yeah, never knock the zeros, because there's only 2 superpowers. There's 2 primordial source energy, right, potentials, the 0 and the 1. The 0 is nothingness, okay, nothing, which is a 42.6. Interesting. Sheldon from Big Bang Theory, and also, the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, their favorite number. It's a number for decision and architect. Interesting, the top thing in the matrix is the architect. So the nothing is the architect, because without the womb you couldn't have had a sperm in the first place. Chicken and egg, which one came? What I'm saying is the source became nothing, which is a 0, and everything, which is 61.7. And 61.7 is a great number. It creates a pyramid in the chart. What was the question you asked? It's like I missed the question.
So,
I want to go back to it.
so like today's the number 1 day. So if we went to your
how do you get number 1? Because it's 11.
No, you add it up. So 11, 1 for October is 12, and then 7.
He's right. Yeah, see, he's right. It's 11. It's 11-2 day. So I added up wrong.
But I always add it up to a single digit.
Yeah, it's 2 1s that make a 2, right? So there's 11-2 day, right? So it's a day. If you want to be simple, 11 means C, because why do people like this? Is I'm teaching in numbers, so luckily my maths is so bad, whatever. Right? So you got the 0 and 1. Okay, when you finish this dimension of 1, I can't do it. Get my hand that way. Yeah, when you go 1, 4, 7, the next number across here will be a 10, because the 10 becomes a 1. Yeah, you understand? Yeah. Today is an 11-2 day. 11 is the very first spiritual number, right? If you speak to Sadhguru, I think it's Sadhguru or something, he talks about in the Indian culture, the final dimension of the mortal coil is the 11th dimension. We're talking about 5D. There are many dimensions, okay? I couldn't tell you the number. I haven't researched it. Sadhguru says 12th is the very first spiritual dimension, right? So we get into 12 signs of the zodiac, 12 is meta. So 11, Jeff's right, today's number is C, the number for C. It's the spiritual number, because you're seeing yourself, see? That's what you see in another one. It's just the mirror of yourself. So that's literally why the spiritual people love it, the mystics, etc. And so many mystics and spiritual people have a 38, 11, 2, 29, 11, 2, or they're a 22. And the kids today, you'll find they're at a low frequency. Everyone says high frequencies better. No, the kids have got very low frequencies. Gaia's frequency is probably the lowest of all. The Schumann resonance is very low. Nothing wrong with low frequency. Whales are not worse than dolphins. Dolphins go up here, and whales are like, ooh, you know. So 11 means sea. 11 means sea. I can look in my book and tell you there's many high levels of 11. If you get the book, you'll see. Yeah,
I will. But no,
so you can go to the highest one that I can see here. Yeah.
What I'm saying is, what I've done in the past is I've added up the 11, the 1, and the 7, which makes it a 10, bringing it back to a number 1 day.
How do you do that?
11, October is a 1, so that's 3. And then 2023 is 7.
Yeah. That's 11.
So you, yeah. Oh, numbers was never my. No, it's the 12th
I did it here.
today.
Can you see this little chart I just did there? So
I thought Jeff said it was the 11th today. Sorry.
No, 12th. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I
So,
think
yeah.
Here you go.
3, 4,
4. Yeah.
plus 7.
Yeah. 11. Yeah. Right. I'm with you. Yeah.
And
then
that's
my mistake.
date. Can you see today's date is all intention?
Yeah, I jumped to the answer, mate.
You what?
I jumped to the answer, 11, and you assumed it was 11th today.
You did. You did. No, you got it right. And 11's got words like energy, be yourself, independent, relationship. It's great stuff. Yep. There are so many 11 words. I've probably got 50 different types of words in each panel. The book, the Power of Numbers book, the last 6 pages, or maybe 10 pages, I don't think they've been done before, and they show you the frequency of numbers going from, and 11 is simply words like my, see, on it, or, taste, state, calm, dual, you know, that sort of stuff, all the way up to very high 11 words like relationship, synchronicity, responsibilities, the future human being, you know, yeah. I've got some pretty advanced stuff in here. If you understand the gene codes, I've studied it all. It's in the book. So any modality you're doing, you probably see words in there that match, whether you're witch or pagan or light worker or metaphysician or psychologist, etc. My favorite thing is the thought 369, make the sense 258, make the feeling. Do you know how many psychologists study the soul? There's a guy called Dan Siegel taught 100,000 psychologists in his day. We're talking probably 10 years back was his study. And he said only 2% of them study the soul. So numerology makes you look at your soul with your soul urge. And in a reading, I can give people their soul vibration, the range of it. You know, I haven't done that with you, Andrena, yet, but your range is 20 in 3 different numbers up to a high 20. So you're definitely meant to help the kids. You're meant to be here big time to help this 100-year period. So you got to get some AI bits in there. You've got another 7 years to go. Okay.
God. Right. Okay. Well, I know we could go on and on talking about numbers because I just love numbers, and you've given it a whole new meaning. So, yeah. So is there anything you'd like to finish up on before we go today? But I'd definitely love you to come back and share more another time.
The most important thing, if I could just lead you with something at the end with everyone closing their eyes, is that okay?
Okay.
Yeah? Okay. So I want you to imagine your own sense of God or source or divine, whatever. I'll use the word God for now, and it doesn't have to be a man that looks like me or whatever color. And I want you to say that this person was more or less playing in their own backyard, happy in the chaos and order of a life of just leisure, playing with levels of energy that we can't even fathom and levels of calm that we would go mad with our brains if we're there. Most people, if you just look them in the eyes, they go mad. So I just want you to get an idea of this cosmic peace that lasted for, timeless. And then this source being, in order to know itself better, decided it would actually fully split itself into everything, okay, and nothing. And the nothing was 0, and the everything was 9 vibrations. And the 9 vibrations are like children. They all had different personalities, and they're all contained by the nothing. None of them came out there without the nothing being present, the womb. And they created a unified field. And this field is a wonderful spinning donut of frequency, a unified field, a quantum field. You can look up a torus or a toroidal field to see them spinning on the internet. They're beautiful. Hardly anyone's done them exactly as they are because they're too complex. And the pathway through this beautiful donut, which is really like a very beautiful open hole at the bottom, going through the heart and going out through the crown like a whale, spitting back out into the universe, spitting back this energy that circles all the way around to come all the way back into the bottom of the donut and spits out through the crown, comes in through the bottom and out through the crown, in through the bottom and out with the crown, like a spinning donut of enormously complex but gentle frequency. Nobody gets hurt. But by the same token also, this energy comes in through the crown and comes down through the heart and out through the bottom, and that goes down through gravity, but somehow it goes around through levity, and we don't talk about levity, and that levity brings everything back up into the crown, and then down through the heart and down through the bottom, in through the crown, down through the heart, in through the bottom, spinning the other way equally to the first way I just described. It's spinning every way you can imagine through the bottom hole and the top hole. And there is even side holes as well that come in through the heart and enliven the chakra. That's how we have the Vitruvian man. The Vitruvian man is a man who puts his hands up high and high and down low. His legs wide and his legs together. It's a she as well as a he. And this is what we're made of. This is at 512 cells. When we're all mouth and anus, basically, there was a top hole and a bottom hole. When we're first born, we have the fontanella, which is that hole that's still open to the universe, and it closes over, and we become a encapsulated little being. So I just want you to just take a few breaths and just remember that you are source energy in a body now. You are not the body. You are not the brain. You are source energy in a body, and your job is to familiarize yourself with your own power and potential again, which has both everything and nothing within it. And there are full 9 vibrations within you for you to learn. Okay, and thank you for listening to that. That's the final thing I have to say. Yeah.
Oh. Well, thank you for that. And it's been an absolute delight having you on the show and sharing such amazing knowledge and wisdom. So brilliant. Thank you, Kean.
I'm honoured. Thank you. Appreciate it very much. Sorry?
All right. Thank you very much. Okay, all good.
Pleasure.
All right. Same time next week, same place. Bye, everyone, and thanks for listening.
Cheers.
Thank you.